Hello YouTube, Mr. Magz here. And with Nintendo recently releasing their sales reports and showing that the Nintendo Switch sold over 2.7 million units in March alone, I thought I would propose the question, did Nintendo's marketing strategy for the thing actually work? Because a lot of people were concerned and even afraid the system wasn't going to sell well, simply because of how Nintendo went about revealing this thing and just talking about it in general. So if you don't really remember, let's go to the timetable real quick. In March of 2015, Satoru Iwata at an investors meeting mentioned just kind of offhandedly that that they were working on their next system, and that makes sense. Nintendo and the other two console manufacturers generally start at least thinking about their ideas for the next systems about a year or two after their last one came out. Like the Wii U started R&D in 2008 when the Wii came out in 2006. So it would make sense that by 2015, when the Wii U came out in 2014 or 2012 rather, that the Nintendo Switch would be well underway. They probably started thinking about it late 2014, and then by 2015 they're like, yes, we are working on something. They can confirm that then. So, people were convinced that Nintendo was going to reveal this thing at E3. That didn't happen because Nintendo would be stupid to. The Wii U, now, it never really hit its stride, per se. It never really did all that well, period. That's honestly the majority of the reason why Nintendo went ahead and revealed that they were working on the next system, because investors were kind of iffy on Nintendo right then. They're like, oh, we don't know if the Wii U isn't doing all that well, but you know what? We have this new thing coming down the line. So I want you just be patient, and we'll get through this. So many people were thinking that they would reveal it 2015, when that would be stupid. Just no. Nintendo had plenty of games. Well, they had quite a few games coming in 2015, and also some of them started of 2016 that we already knew about in 2015. Like Mario Maker and Yoshi Woolly World hadn't come out yet. So there was a lot of stuff at E3 2015 that they had to talk about, and that if they had mentioned the Switch at all, it would have just undermined that completely. So a year went by with no mention of the Nintendo Switch. And then I believe in March of 2016, at the next investors meeting, Kimishima revealed that the Switch would be, or that the NX at the time, would be coming out in March of 2017. So, and I think it was there that he said it would not be talked about at E3. I think. I don't know if that was then or later when they specifically announced that E3 would be entirely Zelda. But regardless, Nintendo Switch was, again, at the time, still known as NX, which I still kind of feel like would have been a pretty cool name for it, but Switch, it fits what it is just fine. E3 2016 came around and no Switch to be seen. The only mention of the NX was that Breath of the Wild was also coming to it, and also the game was delayed until March. Because they said it was delayed into 2017, and people just kind of assumed it was for launch, which it ended up being launched, of course. And then, with no Switch in sight, they were like, okay, we'll talk about it at a later date. August, September, into October, no mention of the Switch from anywhere. TGS went by. PAX Prime, all of the PAXs happened. Nintendo only showed up with a couple of 3DS games and a couple of one or two Wii U games that were relevant at the time, maybe Star Fox, I don't remember. But yeah, Nintendo didn't really have a great showing at those events. They didn't reveal the Switch there, and people were starting to get worried that this thing just wasn't ever coming out. There were actually rumors about the Switch getting delayed into 2017 when Kimishima already announced that it was going to be in 2017 before. And there was never a mention of it releasing in 2016 ever. People just assumed that it was delayed into 2017. I know Kimishima did say that they were waiting until the games were ready to reveal this thing. And that kind of, I guess that made a lot of people think that, oh, the games aren't ready, so it's delayed. When, I mean, I guess technically, I don't even know if that's technically true, because I think all the developers who are working on Splatoon, ARMS, Mario Odyssey, Zelda especially, they were like, okay, these games need to be done by early 2017. So I don't think that the system was delayed in 2017. I think it always had a 2017 release date. But regardless, people started to get worried that this thing was just never coming out. And then on October 21st, 2016, Nintendo revealed that tomorrow we will be showing the Nintendo NX. We'll give you the first peek of it. And that trailer was awesome. Now, granted, I kind of wish they hadn't said Nintendo Switch in the title of the video, or maybe they could have changed it later. Just say first look at Nintendo NX, because when I saw it, I had to miss it at first, but I came back a couple hours later after I was out of classes and watched it. And when I saw the title, Nintendo Switch, I knew instantly that it was a console handheld hybrid that Eurogamer had predicted. But still, the reveal trailer itself, it hit all the points right. It was a good trailer. And then a lot of people were like, yes, this is what we want. This is great. The people were upset that it's not like a super powerful console, but a lot of people were excited about the console handheld hybrid idea. And then Nintendo revealed a few days later that there wasn't going to be any more information until January 12th. And that's when people got furious. I saw so many articles saying, is the Nintendo Switch dead on arrival? They're not going to have enough time to market this thing. This is a Wii U all over again. People don't know what this thing is, when it's a super unique idea. There was very intense marketing from January 12th through March. Not to mention the Jimmy Fallon presentation in December. I think December 12th-ish. Right before the holiday season, people had it in their mind. Like I said in a video previously, that presentation that Reggie did on Jimmy Fallon's show, it presented the idea to a group of people who might not have even heard of Nintendo Switch. Now those people have. And they might have, friends or relatives who are gamers, and they can fill them in further. So, other than the Reggie at Fallon, there was no mention of the Nintendo Switch at all between October and January 12th. And then the January 12th event happened, and a lot of people came out of the event kind of iffy because the presentation itself, it was very low energy, which I feel is just kind of the way Japanese press conferences are. I can't say that for certain, but I just kind of got the feeling that's just kind of how it is. Crowds don't necessarily cheer like they do in America. So just the way the crowd was, just the way the presentation was in general, it seemed very low energy, and a lot of people were just kind of off-put by that. And also, a lot of people were upset that more games weren't revealed for this thing. Like I said previously, a lot of people wanted Mario, Splatoon, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, and Zelda all on day one, as if Nintendo would have been able to supply anything else for the rest of the year. But no, they don't think about that. They just want a good launch title. But yeah, they were like, okay, Zelda and Bomberman are the two main launch games, and 1-2 Switch, I guess. So yeah, that a lot of people came out of that and they're like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this thing anymore. It was a cool idea at first, but now the price is too high, which it's not, by the way. It's just not. The price is too high. There's not enough games. I don't know if the thing is going to really sell that well. Third-party devs don't really seem to be supporting the thing yet. It's going to be a Wii U all over again. I heard that so much. And there were so many people shouting doom and gloom already, saying the thing was dead on arrival, simply because they didn't like how it showed in a Japanese press event But regardless, then the Super Bowl ad happened with the Imagine Dragons song. And you're going to tell me that people didn't take note of that? The Super Bowl, and especially and I saw a lot of people who watched that Matt Pat video about, oh, Super Bowl ads are stupid, they should spend their money on YouTube ads instead, which is kind of funny because Nintendo did run at least the shortened version of that ad on YouTube prior and for quite a long time after the Super Bowl, but whatever. And it especially worked for this Super Bowl because if you watched it, I'm not the biggest sports guy, but like if the Super Bowl's on, I was in the lobby at the time and it was on, so I was watching. Like after the Switch ad, the game switched per se. The game changed, so people were invested throughout the entire game. I mean, they knew the Patriots were going to do something. They always do. I mean, again, I'm not the biggest sports fan, but I know at least that much. So people were watching all the way through the game. They saw that ad at the height of the game, and then after that, like went all good for the Patriots and whatnot. But like, I feel like it was a perfect storm for that ad to do well. And there was a lot of websites that had this Nintendo Switch ad in the top 5 ads of the Super Bowl, which is pretty impressive, especially when a lot of the ads ran multiple times. The Switch was only there in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, that seemed to kind of work. And then they had they had many more commercials on YouTube, on TV, on multiple channels. I even saw someone tweet that they saw it in WrestleMania. On March Madness, there were Switch commercials. So yeah, Nintendo clearly learned from their marketing mistake from the Wii U and marketed this thing to audiences who may or may not have actually necessarily would have seen this Switch otherwise. So then we get to March 3rd, and people were still concerned that Zelda would be the only thing there, and after Zelda sells for a week, it'll be a dead system. But clearly that didn't really happen because Zelda is still selling. Bomberman, though not nearly to the extent of Zelda, is still selling fairly well. So is 1-2 Switch. So are the other launch games like Shovel Knight, which I think has a physical copy. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, and then other games like Blaster Master and Binding of Isaac and all those Neo Geo games, and like throughout the month of March, there weren't any big games that came out after Zelda and Bomberman, but there were a bunch of little games that just kind of, sprinkled in there and actually, and I assume helped, just build confidence in the system itself. And then the April Direct, which actually isn't even really relevant to the March sales because, again, people were afraid that the thing was going to be dead on arrival. It would not sell well. But then it sold 2.74 million in March alone. And Zelda actually outsold the Nintendo Switch somehow. Now, granted, I think those numbers are both on Wii U and Nintendo Switch, but still, Zelda Nintendo Switch sold, I think, over 1.5 million. So that's pretty darn good. That's a great attach rate. With actually the attach rate in the US being Zelda had a higher attach rate with Switch. There were more Zeldas sold than there were Switches, which is still, I mean, it's not confusing because people buy Zelda when there aren't Switches just because they want to play it immediately when they get the system, and also special editions and whatnot. So it makes sense, but still that's kind of crazy how essentially everyone who bought a Nintendo Switch also got Zelda. Like that's crazy to me. So yeah, the thing sold 2.74 million, and it's still selling fairly strong. Every single time pre-orders go up on Amazon or GameStop or Best Buy or wherever, they're sold out instantly. Still, there are still like dedicated articles saying, "Oh, Nintendo Switches will be in stock on this date." And every time they come to the New York Nintendo Center, or whatever it's called, Nintendo released an infographic saying, okay, they'll be coming in at this time, this time, this time. So yeah, this thing is still selling pretty good, I would say. So again, that just kind of begs the question: Did the marketing work? Did their unorthodox ideas of pushing this system to the masses actually work? Because the majority of the time, actually pretty much every time outside of the Sega Saturn, that with the Dreamcast, it was Saturn, that a console is announced, it's at E3, and then it gets one or two E3s to show. Usually one E3 to show the system, then another E3 to show games. This system did not see a single E3. We knew that Zelda was coming to it at E3 2016, but it wasn't there. It, like, a lot of the games that, like, and I don't even really know if Nintendo necessarily needed to show this thing at E3, because they showed it really well in October. We already knew Zelda was coming for it, and that's really the only game that kind of mattered, even now. Like, I'm not 100% certain that if more big games had come out, like if Mario Kart 8 had come out at the same time as Zelda, I honestly don't know if it would have really changed anything. I still think that the same amount of people would have bought the Switch, and also that same amount of Zelda honestly might have sold even less. And I don't know. I feel like that would have just cannibalized Mario. So we knew about the Switch's biggest game at E3, and it showed really well in October. In my opinion, it showed at least decently on January. Yeah, in the January event. And then very intense marketing from January through March, and even up till now, mainly focusing on Zelda and 1-2 Switch. And also Mario Kart. So yeah, I honestly feel like their unorthodox marketing decision actually really worked. People who wouldn't know about the Switch otherwise really know about it. People know about the games coming out for it because the Nintendo Switch commercials that are out now, they show things like Mario Kart 8, which comes out tomorrow, ARMS, Splatoon 2, which don't come out till June and July respectively. Even some of them have Mario Odyssey in there, which is not coming out until the fall, probably November. So, yeah, like, people who just watch these commercials, they know that these games are coming. So, yeah, I feel like no matter what people think, I honestly feel like this idea worked. So, yeah, in the comment section down below, do you think that Nintendo's marketing for the Switch actually works? Do you think they could have done it better? Do you think the Switch should have been at E3 2016? Like I said, it would have been nice. It definitely would have been nice. But if considering that Zelda was probably the only game that would have been ready to show at E3, I feel like it being really shown off in October, and then again in January, and then just intense marketing from there, I feel like it worked just fine. Would an extra 3 or 4 months have helped it? Probably, but I don't know if the amount it would have helped would have like really mattered in the end, especially the fact that it's still selling out as it is right now. So yeah. Leave in the comment section if you think Nintendo Switch is, what you think of their marketing period. Do you think it worked? Do you think it didn't? Do you think they could have done something better? What would you change about their marketing? Especially compared to the Wii U. Do you think, that's not even a question. Of course its marketing is better than the Wii U. That stupid block ad? Like, what was that? But whatever. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time.